Hey everyone, Kaitlin here. Thanks for watching another episode of Baldwin Breakdowns. And this week's topic, as you guys voted for in the polls, are different models of psychotherapy. So I wanted to go through this and go through four models in particular, focusing on the foundations and the underlying beliefs, the focus of each model, so what things are actually targeted, and kind of the follow-up, what does this model look like in sessions and in between sessions. So the first one is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and this one is probably recommended most often by doctors or psychiatrists, just because it's the most standard. A lot of people have a foundational understanding of CBT, and the idea is that problems are maintained through patterns of thought and behavior that are unhealthy. So naturally, the focus of this model is to target those specific patterns. And so the follow-up, this model, and if it's kind of traditional core CBT, will involve a lot of written activities. So you might go through kind of your thoughts and look at the evidence, look at the situations, look at the triggers. And you're also going to have a focus on specific behavioral goals. So either increasing certain behaviors that bring you happiness and fulfillment, or decreasing or changing other behaviors. DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is pulled from a lot of the same knowledge and foundations as CBT, but it's adapted for people who have really extreme highs and lows of mood, who would really struggle to implement kind of the concepts within CBT. So this believes still in that focus of addressing thoughts and behavior, but this dual focus, the dialectic of accepting your situation. And so the four areas of focus in this model are distress tolerance, emotional regulation, mindfulness, and interpersonal effectiveness. So being able to communicate well with others. And the actual follow-up of this, the sessions will look like learning and practicing very specific structured skills to target specific symptoms. So if someone struggles with self-harm, they're going to look at the specific situations and triggers that come up with that, and then they may use a very targeted skill. And there's a lot of kind of acronyms within DBT that help people remember certain skills, because it kind of fully takes you through step by step. Here's exactly what you can do in that moment to feel a little bit of relief or to not feel as much distress. The third one is EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And I put the asterisk there just because this is a trauma-specific model, and so it actually requires your psychotherapist or social worker or psychologist to be trained and certified in this model in order to provide it. And so the foundations behind EMDR are that trauma or any intense emotional experiences are stored in the brain and in our nervous system, and we can alter or release some of those emotions if we change the way that our brain processes that information. So the focus is on traumatic memories or difficult emotional events, and you're trying to process them safely in order to decrease that emotionally intense reaction that you might usually have to them. So the sessions themselves will involve actually discussing and recalling specific memories, whether it's from childhood or a specific event, but you're going to be recalling it while doing what's called a bilateral activity. So you might be talking about it and tapping your finger back and forth, or you might be looking at a ball on the screen moving back and forth. And they're doing that in an attempt to change the way that your brain is processing it, and again, reduce that reactivity and that intensity. And ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, is the one that I use most often, that kind of guides a lot of my work, even if I'm using other models with clients, and it really doesn't focus on specific symptoms. So the foundations of ACT are that there aren't any problems, there's nothing wrong or that we need to change or fix within our experience, but that distress and that inner conflict can be intensified by what they call psychological inflexibility. So there's a dual focus on mindfulness, and so it addresses avoidance, the ways that we might push out our feelings or our thoughts, and it will have a focus on some behavioral change, and maybe that's bringing in some self-compassion, bringing in some meditation or mindfulness, or things that actually really connect you to what's important for you. And so sessions, at least with me in particular, but from this model, sessions are probably going to focus much more so on feeling those uncomfortable emotions and the difficult thoughts, and just really learning to practice acceptance and sitting with them rather than pushing them away. So I know that's a lot of information. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'll catch you guys next week on another Baldwin Breakdowns. Bye.